Building a job site table for ACURA STOP, we use 3/4 plywood by 13 inches wide by typically 8 feet long. If you want a longer table, like say 10 feet or 12 feet, then you can use 3/8 plywood and laminate it together, put glue in between, clamp it down, and you can make it a table basically as long as you want. So typically we use 8 foot long, 10 foot long, or 12 foot long tables, and 13 inches wide seems to be wide enough. The next step is to take a piece of 1x2 stock, which actually measures 3/4 of an inch by 1.5 inches, and make it the same length as your table. And you want to screw it to one edge of the plywood. So put the screws in from underneath, and put one about every 12 inches or so, and put one a couple inches from each end. Now that that's been done, we go to the next step of installing the angle iron on the board. Now we're using a piece of angle iron. It measures 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches by roughly 1/8 of an inch thick, and the length of the angle iron should be as long as your table, so it'd be 8 foot, probably 10 foot or 12 foot. We put a 1/4 inch hole about every foot in the center of one of the flanges, and then put a screw about 1 inch, 1.5 inches from each end. After that, you want to take your angle iron and paint it and get it ready to install. The next step is to take a couple 2-inch blocks of wood, make a couple blocks of wood 2 inches wide, and put the wood between the wood stop and the track. I usually use a couple of them, one here, one down the way, just to keep the track parallel to the wood. So put the wood blocks in 2 inches away to hold a 2-inch space, and then drill your 1/4 inch hole that you've already drilled through your angle iron. Drill it now all the way through the plywood, all the way down. After the holes are drilled through your plywood, the next thing to do is turn your plywood over, and we have to set it up for T-nuts. We use T-nuts on the bottom side so they don't stick out, and it makes it nice and even on this side. But to put a T-nut in, we need to make the hole a little bit bigger for the first 3/8 of an inch. So I use a little bit bigger diameter bit, the same diameter as the shaft on this T-nut, and drill in about 3/8 of an inch. And then you put the T-nuts in the hole, and you want to hammer them down until it's flush with the plywood. So you put the T-nuts in the hole, hammer them down, and now you're ready to flip it over and put your track on. Now we're ready to install the angle iron track to the table. So to do that, you use the 1/4 inch by 1 inch bolts that come with the system, and you put them in the hole and tighten them down. A little later, we're going to put a 1/2 inch tape measure on top of this back track. But I found that the tape measure doesn't stick to the wood very good. So what I recommend is a piece of a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch by 1/16 inch angle trim. You put it on top of the wood, and then screw it to the wood, leaving the top smooth, ready to accept the tape measure that will stick to it. So I'll go ahead and put the aluminum on now, and then we'll go from there.